Michigan economists, lawmakers, and those interested in the upcoming budget crammed into the appropriations room in the Capitol today to get the very latest on the financial forecast. 24-hour News 8 political reporter Rick Albin was there. He joins us now with the latest. Rick?
Sewer's big crowd, not as big as it has been in the past. You know, this revenue estimating conference is something that many people were just blissfully ignorant about a decade ago. But in the last several years, these meetings where the informed guess about the state's financial fate have become e-ticket events. What they're all trying to do with their charts and graphs and estimates is put a dollar amount on how much money the state will bring in over the next 6 months or so. Continuing unemployment concerns with estimates that will remain around 15% this year, fewer jobs, particularly in the auto industry you were just talking about. And a continuing soft economy suggests this year will be more of the same, lower revenues, uncertain future. There is some good news, at least for now, that there will be no further cuts in either the general fund or school aid funds this fiscal year, if today's guesses are correct. But for the budget year that begins in October, there is at least a $1.7 or $1.8 billion deficit as compared with proposed spending. And with the way the state collects money and spends money emerging as one of the big issues in Decision 2010, how much harder will it be to put together a spending plan than the last 2 years have been, where they have been no cakewalk?
The next budget will probably be more difficult only because you've already made the cuts in 10, and finding additional cuts will be even more difficult. I think you combine that with the fact that this is an election year. I don't think any of those things make this any easier.
Another political overtone to the budget negotiations will be the larger conversation going on now about fundamentally changing the way Michigan generates revenues. In other words, who and what the state taxes. Some, including the governor, have suggested that this is the year to try to come up with some kind of a grand compromise. But due to the scope of this year's election cycle, that may be very hard to achieve. Still, across the aisle, there is some agreement that there is a need for a long-term solution. At 6, what one member of the GOP Senate has to say about moving Michigan forward. Brian?